Chelsea have appointed Enzo Maresca as manager in what must go down as the most senseless and uninspiring appointment that Chelsea Football Club have made since we sacked Jose Mourinho and replaced him with Avram Grant. Look, I desperately hope that it goes well for Maresca. I love our tradition and relationship with Italians, and there is an awful lot about Enzo Maresca that I admire. He has done stellar work in football, but he has basically been appointed because of his relationship with Pep Guardiola. The fact that Enzo Maresca has an association with Pep Guardiola is inspiring enough for our ownership to give him the keys to the Chelsea kingdom, and that is bonkers. Oh, look, I've been away. I'm sorry for the delay on this video. I've been in Marbella with my family. But while I was away, I was reading up on Maresca and I was trying to find the lineage that would help me comprehend this appointment, and it basically doesn't exist. The only draw can be Guardiola. It can't be Palmer. It can't be getting Leicester promoted. I mean, that's hardly noteworthy, is it? If you are the Leicester manager, with that team, the size of that club, the stature and history of Leicester City, of course you're expected to get back to the Premier League. So I'm trying to deduce and fathom a reason as to why he's been given the Chelsea job. And it's basically his association with Pep Guardiola. So we have replaced Mauricio Pochettino, a manager that, look, I never particularly liked, a manager I never particularly warmed to, and a manager I never really wanted at Chelsea. But we have replaced Mauricio Pochettino, who objectively has to be in what? The top 15 managers in the world? With Enzo Maresca. We've replaced a manager in Pochettino with pedigree and a track record, and replaced him with somebody who is totally untried, untested, unproven, and will be making his managerial Premier League debut at Chelsea Football Club. Oh my God. When you say this out loud, it is just nuts, isn't it? Like Pochettino, whatever you think of him as a man, he is a good manager. You know, he's Tottenham's best manager of the past 30 years. He's been to a Champions League final. He has won Ligue 1 in France. So Maresca is obviously, objectively, a downgrade. And you combine all of that about Mauricio Pochettino with the fact that we actually found a bit of rhythm. You know, towards the end of the season, we looked good. Our better players were playing really well, and at times we played some scintillating football. We honestly played the best football that has been played at Stamford Bridge since Eden Hazard was in the team under Pochettino towards the end of the season. Like 5 wins on the spin. 5 wins on the spin is significant. When I was a kid, people used to sing about 5 wins on the spin. I know that Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Antonio Conte, Jurgen Klopp have changed the definition of football and the definition of success. But 5 wins on the spin is huge. And that's what Pochettino achieved. I don't know the numbers, but I think that's the first time Chelsea would have won 5 in a row since we were good. And certainly that's the first time it's happened under this ownership. And it really scares me. You know, you look at Leicester City fans' reaction to him going, they just don't seem to be particularly bothered. They found him one-dimensional, they found him boring, they found him predictable, they found his lack of substitutions infuriating. So we have gone from Pochettino to Maresca. That's the same as going from Erling Haaland to Troy Deeney, man. What are we playing at? And he just doesn't divert from his style of football. You know, when I was at Malaga Airport today and when I was on the plane flying home, I read a brilliant article. There's a piece with Martin Samuel in the Times talking to Carlo Ancelotti, and it is so enlightening. It's so revealing. It is a perfect football summary, and it chimes exactly with how I feel about football. Ancelotti almost proudly says that he doesn't have an ideology. He doesn't have a style. He is a manager who is pragmatic, and he believes that his job is to find a way to win. Carlo Ancelotti is arguably the best manager to have ever lived. You can easily make that case. He is the only manager that has won the league in all 5 European major leagues. He is a complete icon of the game. He is a hero of mine. One of my favourite seasons following Chelsea, home and away, was the season where Ancelotti won us the double. We were electrified. In this article, he sort of acknowledges that not having a style or a clear ideology may cost him. People don't necessarily hold him in the regard that they do other managers because he hasn't got this identifiable style of play. I tell you what he is. He is a serial winner, a serial European Cup winner, a serial trophy hunter, both as a player and a manager. And he gives this great example. He gives this great example of his Real Madrid team going to play De Zerbi's team in Donetsk. When Roberto De Zerbi was manager of Shakhtar Donetsk, they were a brilliant team. They kept the ball really well, and they pressed from the front in a way that was so damaging to the opposition. Ancelotti, so clever, just changed his entire tactic. He told his team, do not press. If you don't press, they won't know what to do, and ultimately you will destabilise them. His team won 5-0. Real Madrid went to Donetsk and battered De Zerbi's very impressive Donetsk team 5-0. That is good management. Pragmatism is good management. And Maresca proudly says that he will not divert from his style of play. He has one way to play, and that is how he wants the game to be played. This really troubles me. It also troubles me because Chelsea Football Club should be rivals for Manchester City. We should be challenging Manchester City. What we shouldn't be doing is being a poor man's imitation of Manchester City. How on earth are we supposed to supersede Pep Guardiola, beat Pep Guardiola, knock Pep Guardiola off his perch, if all we do is employ the B-Tech version of Pep Guardiola? Let's find a manager that can compete, not simply imitate, copy. And the other thing that we've learned from this Maresca appointment is that this ownership are so dangerous. They have sacked a manager who was principled and who clearly said to them that they need to keep hold of our best players. Our best players towards the end of last season were obviously Conor Gallagher, who played more minutes for Pochettino than any other Chelsea player, and Trevor Chalobah. The second that Chalobah came into that back line, we were brilliant. We won. In fact, we stopped conceding. It was amazing. And there is no doubt in my mind that Trevor Chalobah is a better player than Axel Disasi. Trevor Chalobah is a better player than Benoit Badiashile. And it was foolish to buy them with him lurking around. So Mauricio Pochettino obviously had a conversation with the ownership and said, Gallagher must stay, Chalobah must stay. And they have basically said nobody will stand in the way of the Stuart and Winstanley project. That includes Mauricio Pochettino. So with that, they've sacked him and they have brought in a manager who will clearly bend to their every whim. They have brought in a manager who knows that he has lucked out getting the Chelsea job. So he will not rock the boat. He will play by the rules and he will not stand in the way of the vision of Clearlake, Bowley, Eghbali and everyone associated with the boardroom at Chelsea. This isn't only damaging to Chelsea Football Club, it is so dangerous for football. Enzo Maresca is no longer the manager. He isn't the manager of Chelsea. He is the head coach. So now the board can run roughshod over everything that is going on with the first team. We are now officially a business. We reported a loss of 90 million quid for last season. So now, before June the 30th, we are going to have to sell. Pochettino obviously didn't accept that. Maresca has. And as always, the painful reality of this is that the way that you make up the money is to sell the homegrown players. Therefore, the second that Tottenham Hotspur bid for Conor Gallagher will go. Nothing screams panic. Nothing screams idiocy in the boardroom. Nothing screams having no understanding of what Chelsea Football Club is all about than selling your sometime club captain to Tottenham for 50 million quid. Trevor Chalobah is going to go to West Ham United, it seems. I think it's also fair to assume that Armando Broja, Ian Matson will also leave. And Enzo Maresca will not stand in the way of this. Why? In fact, his appointment is a facilitator of this. He himself, simply by being who he is allowing us to do this. He is a facilitator of the vision of Clearlake. And for that reason, it already feels like a disaster. I mean, he's also going to massively have his work cut out. There's so much to do at Chelsea. There are so many problems. Is his CV up to it? Is he capable of dealing with the array of issues at our club? First and foremost, can he get Enzo Fernandez playing well? We're going to sell Gallagher. That is now a guarantee. So Enzo Fernandez has to play well. I've seen nothing to suggest that he is capable of doing it. I've seen nothing to suggest that Enzo Fernandez can be the £100 million player. I've seen nothing to suggest that Enzo Fernandez can partner with Caicedo in the way that Conor Gallagher has done. But Enzo Maresca now has to make that happen. A rapport with the fans is essential. Is he that kind of guy? Is he able to do what Mauricio Pochettino couldn't do and create a vibe, create an atmosphere, create a relationship with the Chelsea faithful? Because that is going to be essential for it to go well for him. He's going to have to find some chemistry within our fan base. And another thing that he's going to have to do, our injury list is appalling. Think about how debilitating our injury list has been. Fofana, Lavia, he's going to have to really delve deep into the issues in the treatment room and find out what is going on. Because if we have another season like last year, it is unsustainable. So there we have it. Look, by the time the season comes around, I'll be singing Enzo Maresca's Blue and White Army. I desperately hope it can work. I hope that he can raise his game and be the manager that we need him to be. But this just feels so underwhelming to me. It feels so problematic to me. I really hope I'm wrong. West London's link with Italy is a strong and proud one, and some of our best and most influential players have come from Italy. Roberto Di Matteo should have a stand named after him at Chelsea. Gianfranco Zola should have a statue built already. Gabriele Ambrosetti, not so much. Let's hope Enzo Maresca can add his name to the more positive list. I'm worried, I'm underwhelmed, but he does have my full backing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know how you feel about this in the comments below. I will be reading your comments finally and intently because I really want to understand how people are feeling about this appointment. I hope I'm wrong, but when I saw the news, I cannot say that I was doing the Marco Tardelli celebration round the swimming pool in Marbella. In a bit.